Alright, welcome everybody to my educational channel. This is Francisco Perez. Alright, so we're going to get into the book, History of American Indians. Alright, so when I left off on page 78, argument 2. Alright, so let's get into it. By a strict, permanent divine precept, the Hebrew nation was ordered to worship at Jerusalem, higher in here known as Jehovah, the true and living God, and who by the Indians is stilled Yohea. So it's hair with Yo in front of it. Which the 72 interpreters, either from ignorance or superstition, have translated Adonai, and is the very same as the Greek Kurios. So as you can tell, this is their Greek mythos, Hindu mythos, all coming back into force and trying to creep in our culture. Okay, signifying Sir Lord or Master, which is commonly applied applied to earthly potentes, without the least significant without the least signification of or relation to that most great and awful name which describes the divine essence, whose naturally and necessarily exists of himself, without beginning or end. The ancient heathens, it is well known, worshipped a plurality of gods which they formed to themselves according to their own liking, as various as the countries they inhabited, and as numerous with some as the days of the year. But these Indians, American Indians, paid a religious devour to Loach Ishtohola Abba, the great beneficent supreme Holy Spirit of fire, who resides above the clouds and on earth, also with unpolluted people. He is with them, with the sole author of warmth, light, and all animals and vegetation life. They do not pay the least perceivable adoration to any images or to the dead persons, neither to celestial luminaries, nor evil spirits, nor any created being whatsoever. They are utter strangers to all the gestures practiced by the pagans in their religious rites. They kiss no idols, nor if they were placed out of their reach would they kiss their hands in token of reverence and a willing obedience. The ceremonies of the Indians in their religious worship are more after the Mosaic institution than the pagan imitation, which could not be if the majority of the old natives were of a heathenish descent. For all bigots and enthusiasts will fight to death for the very shadow of their superstitious worship. When they have even lost all the substance, they yet remain so many marks as to enable us to trace the Hebrew extraction and rites. Probably conclude that if any heathens accompanied them to the American world, or were settled in it before them, they became proselytes of justice, and their pagan rites and customs were swallowed up in the Jewish. To illustrate the general object, I shall give the Indian opinion of some of the heathen gods. Contrasted with that of the pagan, the American Indian do not believe the sun to be any bigger than it appears to the naked eye. Conversing with Chickasaw Archimagus, or high priest, about the luminary, he told me it might possibly be as broad and as round as his winter house, but he thought it could not well exceed it. We cannot be surprised at the stupidity of the Americans in this respect, when we consider the gross ignorance which now prevails among the general part of the Jews, not only of the whole system of nature, but of the essential meaning of their own religious ceremonies, received from the divine majesty, and also when we reflect that the very learned and most polite of the ancient Romans believed that the sun was drawn round the earth in a chariot. Their philosophic system was not very dissimilar to that of the wild Americans. For Cicero tells us Epicurus thought that the sun to be less than it appeared to the eye. Cicero tells us, and Lucertus says, Tantalus eo so, a diminutive thing, and if the Israelites had not at one time thought the sun a portable god, they would not have thought of a chariot for it. This they derived from the neighboring heathen, for we are too old that they had a house of the sun, where they danced in honor of him in circuits and had consecrated spherical figures, and that they likewise built a temple to it, for they purified and sanctified themselves in the gardens behind the house or temple or akkad. We find they had sun images, which the Hebrew people called Chumamamin. Wait. Yeah. Made to represent the sun, or for the honor and worship of it. And the Egyptians met yearly to worship in the temple of Beth Shemesh, a house dedicated to the sun. Most part of the old heathens adored all the celestial orbs, especially the sun. Probably they first imagined it in living rays immediately issued from the holy fire, light, and spirit, whether naked. Hold on. Who either resided in or was the identical sun. That idolatrous ceremony of the Jews Josiah utterly abolished about 640 years before a Christian era. The sacred text says, He took away the horses which the king of Judah had given to the sun, and he burned the chariots of the sun with fire. Forgive me if I'm like a little woozy, I'm super tired. It's like 2 o'clock in Hawaii, Sabbath's in a couple hours. Alright. At Rhodes, a neighboring island to Judea, they consecrated chariots to the sun on account of his glorious splendor and benign qualities. Macrobius tells us that the Assyrians worship Adad or Akkad, an idol of the sun, and Strabo acquaints us the Arabians paid divine homage to the sun, and but an Indian American pay only a civil regard to the sun, and the more intelligent sort of them believe that all the luminaries of the heaven are moved by the strong fixed laws of the great author of nature. We read that men of Babylon built Succoth Benoth, tents for young women, having consecrated a temple to Venus. They fixed tents round it, where young women prostituted themselves in honor of the goddess. Herodotus and other authors are also sufficient witnesses on this point. Now, were the Americans originally heathens or not of Israel? When they wandered there from captivity in quest of liberty or on any other accidental account, that vixen precedent was so well calculated for America, where every place was a thick arbor. It is improbable that they should have discontinued it, but they are the very reverse. To commit such a pollution